I knew where my mouse was that time.
It's
Oh
okay. I got it.
no.
It's okay. We're fine. The panic. It was a quick countdown. I'm ready. I'm here. I'm fine. I'm focused. We're good. I'm ready. I'm here. I'm fine. I'm focused. My new mantra for everything.
Hi everyone. Welcome back to
Another functional
Oddities.
episode. I'm Cassie.
I'm Kelly.
Whoop
And
whoop
welcome back to
whoop
Strange
whoop whoop.
Town. Ba ba ba. As you guys know, if you listened to last week's episode, we're double recording, so we're just gonna say it as it is. All of our stuff is down below. Social media, follow us. We are gonna be pumping out content on our Patreon next year,
Donate.
so resubscribe if you unsubscribed. Anyways, um, huge shout out to the beautiful, amazing, wonderful, talented Lindsay Bidwell. All of our amazing merch you've all seen by now. And
I think that's everything. You did it.
that's all I have.
Well done, you.
Did I say it right?
No, you did it.
I kind of
Snaps
just
for
blacked
Kelly.
out.
I hope it's picking up. Okay. Yeah, it's not.
It's been picking up quite
It's
well
not
lately.
bad. I
I'm
see
just gonna
tiny
throw that out
little,
there.
tiny little baby lines. How are we?
Oh,
It's been 30 seconds
oh.
since we last checked in with one another.
So I guess we should tell our listeners
Yes,
what body part
you
you were
guys have been waiting
curious
for a
about.
week. Oh my god, which body part has Kelly injured? It's her foot. Tell them. Tell them all.
it's, it's my friggin' foot. So, gosh, what day was it? It was
Yes.
sometime this week that I was doing laundry and I went to go pick up my kids' clothes, and somehow my heel found a jagged
Oh,
piece of plastic. Yes, you heard that correctly. Plastic. I have a photo
you
of it too. I
haven't.
don't think I've sent it to you yet. It impaled me, and it was there, and there was some choice words, and then I traumatized my
Oh
children
my
because I
god.
pulled the sucker out. It wasn't bleeding immediately, and I didn't think it was. I don't know. I thought like my heels were extra tough, so maybe it didn't impale me that bad. But it hurt to put pressure on. So I was walking and like
Yes, like you
my
do.
tippy toes, and all of a sudden, my oldest goes, "Mommy, there's a
Oh
lot of blood."
no.
And I look down, and it's kind of like
Oh
little bits of
god.
sporting too. So I hit something, and I was like, "Oh
We need to do
crap!"
something about this.
So my my oldest goes, "It's okay. I'll get
That was
wipes."
a good idea. Sure.
Because he jumped in because earlier that day he had a
Mm.
gnarly bloody nose, and what did I
There you
use
go.
but wipes? So he jumped into action. My youngest was going, "It's okay, mommy. You're
But it's
hurt,
gonna
but
be
it's
fine.
okay.
I love it.
We'll
The
call daddy,"
support
is what he
system.
said. And then I couldn't find
Oh
my phone.
Jesus. Of course. Oh,
And yeah, it was interesting. It's fine now. It's really sore,
yeah.
like cuz I have to walk on it, and it's just tender.
Did you get it?
But
Did
I
you get
am
it like
fine.
looked at,
It's
or
just
did you decide against it?
I I well,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I think it was Friday.
Oh,
Friday it was hurting really bad, and my mom suggested
that's a
that I
good.
soak it in Epsom
Yeah.
salt, and that actually helped quite a bit. So,
Okay.
I didn't go. And I think I didn't go out of like sheer embarrassment of
Oh my
I
God, it
stepped on a piece of
happens.
plastic. And if anyone knows me, they know that I am just so
You are a
freaking
magnet
accident
for
prone.
these things.
I in middle school I broke my wrist picking up a nickel, you guys.
if we ever go if we ever go on
This is
tour, like should the universe smile upon us and we actually like make it to that point, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you because
Yeah.
oh, where's Kelly? She fell off the stage. She was seated. I know. Like,
She kind of just
it
went
was
flying. I don't
weird.
know. It was kind of
Like,
strange.
where's Kelly? Oh, her luggage fell on top of her. It was on the floor. I know. Like it's just
Why are you questioning this at this point?
gonna
So, yeah, I'm just the joke growing up, I had paper
I
skin
love
and
that.
glass bones. So,
That
which
is
is
a
not funny
thing.
because that
Yeah.
is an actual like that is a thing. But yeah, no, oh, my poor parents.
Yeah. There was a period of time growing up where I kept my brother and I just like we would alternate hurting ourselves, and we kept having to go to the ER because it was like bones and like shit like that. And mom was like, "You guys are gonna get me fucking locked up or something." Like,
You
but you
need to
need to
bring it in.
choose. I remember I like broke my wrist and we were on our way to the ER, and she's like, "I need you to get it together." Like, just like, I need you to stop hurting yourself.
So, a funny story about that. Again, middle school. I had a black eye, and I had a black eye. No other reason other than I was doing a conga line and a
Oh my
friend
god.
elbowed me in the face. Okay, it was like a freak accident. I got pulled out of my English class to ask,
Oh my god.
"Am I safe at home?" And I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, we noticed that you have a lot of injuries a lot of the time, and this black eye is very concerning. And I was like, well, Michael Dennis did it. And they were like, Kelly. And I said, no, really, we were doing the conga line, and he just elbowed me.
Are you
Like,
safe
it
at
just
home?
happened.
Not if Michael Dennis and the conga line are around.
Then they went and pulled him out, and they asked him, like, did you do this to her? And he's like,
Oh my god.
it was an accident.
Probably like traumatized to this day. Oh my god.
Right. And they were like, well, are you sure? Like, you seem to be good friends with her. Like, are you sure? Or, like, are her parents hurting her? And they were like, Mr. and Mrs. Felshaw? Is that a joke?
I love it.
And like, they let it go. But I was pulled out of class
Oh my
two more
god.
times after that for various other things. And actually, I was on crutches for like most of 8th grade because we had to use, we used to do the mile run, right? Well, it was a field for us, and I couldn't
There you
dodge the
go.
damn gopher holes. So, yeah, crutches
That
were
was
my
me
accessory
junior
that
year of high
I don't know what
school.
to tell you.
Yeah, it was.
Ouch.
It was bad.
So, but I think it was like after the 3rd time, my dad goes, you know, next time
Yep.
they do this shit.
Yep.
He goes, tell them that, you know, I only beat you when I'm drinking, which is like every night. And your mom only does it when she's doing this. Like, he was being totally sarcastic, but I was just staring. I was like, you don't want me to live with you anymore. I see
Fine.
how it is.
Fine. Oh god.
So yeah, if you're wondering why I have gray hairs, it's because I'm
And,
actually
and everything. And life.
Yeah. In life. So that's my little tidbit that I saved for this episode. My foot, I hope by now, is feeling better.
That's right.
Completely.
I would hope so. I hope by this point you're good to go. I did the classic thing that I do when we double record where I didn't save anything to speak about, so hope everybody had a good Christmas. That's all. Here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, well, I can share this. So Corey and I, as part of our like gifts to our family this year, we got tickets for the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They're going to be like only 20 minutes from here. So we went when this comes out, we went to see it on the 21st. So hopefully that was enjoyable.
And on the 20th, I was going to be at Disney.
Oh my god. So we're actually having like we had a lot of fun recently, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally. I'll probably
I'm excited for future
jersey.
us. That's great news. But that's all. So this is not our usual 11-minute intro. This is only 9 minutes instead. We're minorly less insufferable. So you started last week. Should I do this? Should I do this? Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
This one goes out to
You
Lindsay.
should do this.
The same Lindsay that designed our shit. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you.
Yay,
so
Lindsay.
I am discussing. I'm going back to Russia. Is he? I'm going back to Russia. It's the Russian sleep experiment. Here we are. I don't know why we're hanging out there, but here we are. So I think all of us are probably not strangers to the concept of not sleeping. It's just like, hi.
It's me. I'm the problem.
You have issues sleeping. I have issues sleeping. Most of my friends and family have issues sleeping. I would wager
I
a
was like
lot of you
drinking
are probably
coffee.
listening to us relatively late at night, so here we are. But anyway, you might wonder how long you can go on like that. How long can you stay awake without cracking as the result of sleep deprivation? And some people say that there was an over-the-top experiment for that. A lot of people try to debunk it. In either case, this is the Russian sleep experiment. It's a popular so-called urban myth, and it began to circulate online in creepypasta forums in the early 2010s. We're gonna get to more of that. But anyway, the story goes that Soviet era scientists created a stimulant which they believed could enable soldiers to not require sleep for up to 30 days. A whole fucking month. Sure.
Hmm.
Do you know how fucking productive I would be? How much shit I could get done? If sleep wasn't a thing.
Sleep.
Also showering. When you stop and think about showering takes a long time. I mean, I'm pretty fast in there, but yeah.
Yep.
Any hoozles. They decided to test
Same.
this it was like a gas or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, they tried to test it on 5 prisoners. They promised them their freedom upon completion of the experiment, and they locked these 5 men in a hermetically sealed chamber and began pumping in this gas. If this is real, this sounds horrendous, but also it's Russia. So anyway, within a few days, reportedly the men were exhibiting this kind of paranoia and psychosis that is a typical symptom of sleep deprivation. But as time went on, they began to act even more strangely. So 15 days into the experiment, so technically this is halfway through the duration that this is supposed to, I guess, work until. So when scientists could no longer see the men through the thick glass of the chamber or hear them through the microphones, they filled the room with fresh air and they unlocked it. And there they discovered that one of the men was dead, and the 4 surviving test subjects were all sporting horrendously violent injuries, some of which appeared to be self-inflicted. Attempts to sedate the men were either unsuccessful or led to their deaths the moment that they lost consciousness. Finally, when one of the researchers asked what exactly these men had become, the last surviving test subject told him that they represented the potential for evil that exists in all human beings, which is usually contained by sleep, but had been unleashed by their constant wakefulness. Same. I'm nauseous. First of all, I'm going to... The next time somebody at work or school or anywhere asks me what's wrong with me, I'm going to tell them that exactly. Word for word.
Word for word.
So,
quoted.
Very spookala-bookala. Is any of this actually true? So according to a video from the Infographics channel on YouTube, high quality information, which provides an animated summary of events from history, current events, and literature. And anyway, the Russian sleep experiment almost certainly has its basis in fiction, according to them. For one thing, there's the fact that the story's sole original source seems to be a website solely dedicated to creepypasta, and that the science side of things doesn't hold up. Experts are quick to refute this myth as well. So there's no scientific ground proving that gas, or any other substance for that matter, can keep a person awake for 30 days. And this is according to a doctor, Po Chang Xu, MD, who is an internal medicine physician and medical content expert at Sleeping Ocean. Here at Oddities, we bring you the highest quality content possible.
Best quality.
According to Dr. Xu, some drugs and high caffeine dosages may grant a couple of days without sleep, but 30 is impossible. Additionally, this experiment is unlikely because of the effect that sleep deprivation has on the brain. This doctor says, quote, even after a few days, a person can start hallucinating, which would make it extremely hard for them to perform simple daily actions, let alone deal with military assignments that require extreme focus. So, this begs us to ask the question of how long can somebody truly stay awake? The current documented world record for staying awake is a little bit over 11 days. That's almost half of what this supposed experiment was for. That's crazy. This was achieved by a man named Randy Gardner in 1963. Gardner experienced severe behavioral and cognitive changes during those 11 days, even though he wanted to prove that nothing bad would happen when a person doesn't sleep. He also experienced mood swings, memory issues, severe difficulty focusing, paranoia, and hallucinations. So while there might be some truth to the claims that like amphetamines have been used to keep soldiers alert in historical times of war, there is no scientific evidence of a gas existing that could keep anyone awake for 15 days, let alone 30. So, studies have been
Yeah.
found that after just 48 hours without sleep, people tend to become slower, disoriented, prone to making mistakes, and ultimately less effective as a soldier. So this doctor says, quote, since the brain can't function properly after being sleep deprived for 11 days, it's safe to assume things will get much, much worse if one tries to stay awake longer. Consequently, those soldiers would have been useless, even if they had miraculously managed to not sleep for 30 days. Still, whoever came up with the story behind the Russian sleep experiment in the first place is like bananas, and I think they deserve points for like creative writing, but it's not for medical accuracy. So long story short, I think we can say this is debunked, but I would say it's not out of the realm of a possible that like they would have tried an experiment such as this back in the day. Like,
Yeah, I really wouldn't put it past
no,
Russia to do something
absolutely
like that. I'm
not.
not
Like
gonna
we
lie.
talked about the gateway
Yeah.
experience. That was a whole crazy thing. I don't think that was in Russia though. God, it's been so long since I covered that. I don't
Yeah.
remember. I think that was US. But regardless, like I think it's totally in the realm of possible that something like this could have been studied. Do I think that it was the case where they successfully had people like these 5 soldiers who stayed up for 15 days and then went like ape shit? No. If somebody had managed to stay up for that long, could they have gone ape shit? Probably, especially if like paranoia and hallucinations are a thing. Like, yeah, I probably could have gotten violent pretty quickly. And then they roll up with, we're evil. We're the evil that's kept at bay when we're sleeping. And like, yeah, I mean, if I'm tired enough, I'll probably say something like that too.
Yeah, enough sleep deprivation you can do and
Yeah,
say some crazy ass
I say
things.
crazy shit all
That's
the time, and
like
I'm not even that sleep deprived. So, it's like,
I remember one time I stayed up for I
oh
think
my
it was like
god,
36 hours. I did the 24-hour relay for life, but like I had things to do after and stuff like that. My
there you
mom
go.
found me sleeping in the
Yeah,
shower.
like, yeah, I don't
Like,
know. I don't, and I don't believe that there is any kind of stimulant that exists that could have anybody staying up that long without severe consequences. And so do I believe that this actually happened? As it's being reported, probably not. But do I think at some point in our history, this something similar to this could have happened that they probably like covered up? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out,
probably.
but that's the Russian sleep experiment.
And I mean, they did it to prisoners, and
Hmm.
they like promised their freedom. I kind of have to believe that they go,
Yeah,
oh, they're
right.
not going to survive.
Right.
They're not going to get their
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
freedoms,
there's all
you
kinds
know?
of really bizarre, like, I mean,
Um,
our history teaches that there's all kinds of weird experimentation. I mean, look at the terrible things that happened during, like, the Holocaust and the different experimentations that they were, like, So, like,
oh,
yeah,
big
I
time.
think, but I don't know that this one in particular is necessarily true. But something similar could have happened. Yeah, so
Oh, yeah,
that's the Russian sleep experiment.
100%.
It was crazy. I
Well,
don't have much more beyond
there you
that.
have it. Russia
Yeah.
being crazy yet
So,
again.
but thank you, Lindsay. This was fun to research. I like this one. You know, sh- do I think an evil? Yeah, is there an
Shout
evil
out to
part of us
Lindsay's
that's
yet
kept at
again.
bay when we're sleeping? Maybe. I don't know. Sleeping's a kind of a wild topic. We've talked about this before on the
Maybe.
podcast. So yeah, that's yeah,
Yeah.
that's all. What do you have for us?
Well, well, I have the Mooneyed people.
That sounds spooky.
It's interesting. And it's more, I would say, like
Okay.
legend-ishy.
Question mark. All right.
Let's go with that. In the mountains
Ah,
of the southern Appalachians, from North Carolina down through Georgia and Alabama, the remains of an ancient stone
here we are.
structures line the ridges. Some of these are additions to national rock formations, others are entirely man-made. Who built these structures? Are they remains of an ancient war fought in the Appalachians? Are they left by the
We
Mooneyed
just don't
people?
know. All right, all I can say is I automatically believe it because
Mm,
this is taking place in Appalachia, and we've established over like many recent
there you go.
episodes that if the shit's like fucked up over there. Like I don't know what's going on, but there's some crazy fucking
There is
shit.
something
So
going on.
yeah, all right.
100%. So, The Mooneyed people are a race of small men who, according to the Cherokee legend, once lived in the southern Appalachians. The Mooneyed people were said to being physically very different from the Cherokee. Being bearded and having pale, perfectly white skin, they were called the Moon-eyed people because they were unable to see daylight, their sensitive eyes being blinded by the sun. For this reason, they were strictly nocturnal and lived in the underground
Wow, but
caverns.
that's a condition, right? Like there are people who are allergic to sunlight and things like that.
That there's people that are allergic to sunlight, but also that just sounds like
I'm thinking of the one.
oh,
Yeah, yeah,
albinoism.
yeah. And I think there
Right?
is. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
So, perhaps the most famous structure associated with the Moonite people is just over the North Carolina border in Georgia at Fort
Fort Mountain.
Mountain. Yeah, that's it. Just Fort Mountain. Um, Now a state park, Fort Mountain gets its name from the 850-foot long stone wall that varies in height from 2 to 6 feet and stretches along the top of the ridge. This stone wall is thought to have been constructed around 400 and
Oh shit.
500 CE.
That is
That
old.
is
Wow.
old.
Okay.
According to the Cherokee legend, this wall is a remnant of the war that the Moon-eyed people fought and lost against the neighboring Creek nations. The Creek Nation drove the Moon-eyed people from their homeland during the full moon, which even the pale light of its blinding, it blinded
Oh
those of
gosh.
the
Okay.
nocturnal people. Um, Cherokee
Sure.
cosmology,
Cos.
cosmology is a complex and fascinating. It describes a universe where humans share a world with other non-human
Oh, I love
supernatural
that.
people.
Stunning.
Stunning. In traditional Cherokee concept of the world, races such as I can't pronounce any of
Good.
those.
Yes, good. We're
Are a part of the natural world who interact with humans at their own discretion, similar to the tradition of the idea of fairies and British Isles. However, it's interesting. What's interesting is that the Moonite people are never described as being supernatural, but is remembered as another group of humans who are physically different
okay.
from
So
the
I
Native
think it's like
Americans.
entirely possible that maybe it was like a bunch of like. I mean, I hate to put it this way, but like outcasts due to like some sort of physical like deformity or condition.
Right? And like it does sound like them being albino. When I first started reading this, it was my understanding that they came from the Cherokee Nation, but they were
Okay, well, yeah.
different
So
from
maybe it was
them.
like, yeah, genetic issue. Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Um, because of the description of the Moonite people is that they are pale skinned and bearded, which I guess the beard part is interest like from my
They
understanding,
don't have
Native
facial
Americans
hair
don't
usually.
usually
Yeah,
have a
right.
lot of
That's what I
facial hair.
thought.
And that's why my husband can't grow
Yeah,
right here
I
and then
love
right
that.
here. um, it has led to some amount of speculation, quite a bit of wild, that the legend of the Moonite people represents a Cherokee folk memory of a contact with a group of European settlers who made it to the New World before Columbus. Particularly the Cherokee legend, the Moonite people, has been matched up with the Welsh legend of
Oh,
Prince
interesting.
Madoc.
Okay.
According to the Welsh story, Madoc
Of
Abi
course, right?
Owain Gwynedd was the Welsh prince who disenchanted the Civil War, racking his homeland, set sail with his brother
Of course.
Rahid and a few followers in 1170 across the Atlantic Ocean and landed somewhere around
Oh,
Mobile Bay, Alabama. After some exploring up and down the rivers of Southern America, Madoc decided that he liked the place well enough and decided to
oh,
move in.
yeah. That
Yeah, sounds
sounds.
like a
Yep.
settler. Leaving his brother and some of his fellow Welshmen behind, Madoc returned to his native country and recruited enough followers to fill 10 ships. He and his colonists set sail back to America and was never
Oh,
heard from again.
interesting. Oh, and like, So maybe because they were down in the south and like maybe the climate was like a lot harsher than they were used to. So like that's where the whole like sensitivity to like light and the sun thing comes from. Yeah, interesting, interesting.
Yeah. Um, some speculated that the Mooneyed people are the descendants of Maddox colonists and that it was the Welshmen who fought a war with the Cherokee and these Welshmen who built the stone forts that dot the ridges
Hmm.
of the mountains. Driven out by the Cherokee, Maddox descendants found their way to South Florida and Alabama, where they continued to live, slowly absorbing bits of Native American culture until they became a strange tribe of
Hmm.
pale Indians, living and dressing in native ways but
Wow,
speaking Welsh.
interesting.
So it is believed that these Welsh settlers were in fact the reason for,
Yeah.
which, it kind of makes sense because if they have features
Yeah.
of, say, Cherokee, but they're these pale, white, perfectly
Yeah.
skinned humans, creatures, whatever you want to call them,
Yeah, I could
I
see
mean,
it.
that makes sense in a way. And if they adapted
Mhm.
Native American ways because they were trying
Yeah.
to adapt whatever this new world that they found,
Hmm,
it makes sense.
interesting. I could buy that.
But I also
Yeah,
want to
like I think
point,
my mind would
right?
like I very much more readily believe that than I would like any sort of supernatural explanation.
But also, I'm still stuck on me thinking that they're
I mean,
Cherokee
yeah,
just
it could be
albino.
that too. Like any of those I think to me are like a very like possible thing and then but then I'm also like, okay, well, a lot of crazy shit happens in Appalachia. So maybe there is just like this whole group of just like these I don't know, beings. I don't know.
Just crazy.
Like, I don't know what to believe.
Who freaking knows? But that's the Mooneyed people, brought to you by
Wow,
Google.
very interesting. So, if you were to pick anything, would you say it's the albino thing, or would you say it's the like commingle, or like what? I mean, what do you?
I would probably say I'm
Hmm.
leaning more towards albino, but I am also leaning towards the commingling, and therefore those traits obviously came in
I'm kind
to
of
the native
yeah. I mean, I'm
traits
kind of
kind of a
signing up
thing.
a little, just a little bit more for the commingling thing, just based on like the number and yeah, like the number and incidence
Genetics.
of like albinism versus just like procreating. You know what I mean? Yeah, either way, I think
Yeah.
it's possible, and I think it's interesting and pretty wild. Uh, and I could totally see where like the Cherokee would be like, "Hi, like, what the fuck is this?"
Yeah, who
Yeah,
are you? And you're
like,
tiny men.
yeah, you. Who
That's
are
I
you,
loved that
small
part.
people?
These
Yeah,
small men.
small, pale, bearded people. At first, I was like, "Oh, it's vampires," and they're like bearded, and I was like, I mean, maybe. Like, I don't know.
Maybe not.
I love that. Well, that's cool. So, I mean, what? How did you come across it on Google? Were you just like weird Appalachian things? Like,
I think it was weird Southern things that I googled.
guys, this is
Sorry,
this is the point
sorry
we've
everyone
hit.
down
So,
there.
if anybody has any suggestions for topics, like,
This was me getting like almost very close to the
I
end of
know,
my
I love
52
that.
topics, and I was
I
like
love that.
kind
I
of
have to
grasping.
do some research for our next recording sesh. I'm out. I gotta fill up my, you know,
I can share
you
with
already have
you.
3 lined up, my friend. You're all good to go. I know. Damn, I gotta
I
catch up. But
know.
once finals are done this week, I'm going to make Oddities my bitch. Yeah. Yes.
You'll be good. You'll be set.
Wow. Okay. Well, once again, this was a wild ride. Yeah,
Yep.
until next time, stay
Until next time.
strange.